that's depressed. Here's a woman that has no hope, but the people she went back home to saw hope in her. They saw potential in her. They saw life in her. They saw possibility in her, and they never called her Mara, because this crowd that knew their God, knew what God could do in her life, they looked at her as if to say, you don't look blessed, but you're still blessed. You don't feel blessed, but you're still blessed. You don't feel favored, but you're still favored. You don't feel happy, but you can be happy again. And they never called her Mara. They called her Naomi till the day she died. I came by to give somebody some good news today. I don't know how you feel, but you're still blessed and highly favored. I don't know what you've been through, but you're still blessed and highly favored. I don't know what you're going home to this afternoon, but you're still blessed and highly favored. I refuse to call you anything except blessed. I refuse to call you anything except anointed. I refuse to call you anything except happy. I refuse to call you anything except joyful. I refuse to call you anything except happy and blessed in the service of the Lord. You are a child of God, blessed and highly favored. They never called her Mara, and I'll never call you anything except blessed of the Lord. Oh, clap your hands today, somebody. Oh. I'll tell you what. Usually when I preach that, it takes me an hour to get to that point, but I did pretty good in 5 minutes, didn't I? But let me give you 4 reasons why. 4 reasons why they never called her Mara. This crowd had lived through a famine. This crowd had stayed in Bethlehem when Elimelech took Naomi and her family away. This crowd had waited on the rain till it came. This crowd had waited on the harvest till it came. This crowd knew their God. And they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They never called her Mara, number 1, because this crowd that knew their God knew you cannot let circumstance define your identity.
All right, amen.
You will not be defined by what you've been through, Naomi.
Wow. Yeah.
You've lost a son, 2 sons, but that's not who you are. You've lost a husband, but that's not who you are. You've lost a daughter-in-law, but that's not who you are. You've been through 10 years in Moab, going through the desert, but that's not who you are. You're who God says you are.
Yes.
And the Father says you're blessed. Yes. And I don't know who I'm talking to this morning, but there may be somebody here, you've been through a whole lot, but that's not who you are. Yes. I'll never forget the last day I pastored a church in Danville, Virginia was on a Sunday in 1996. And I spent that last day visiting 4 people. I had pastored that church almost 8 years, and I was there on my last day about to move to another assignment. And I spent that last day visiting 4 people that were very sick, almost ready to go into heaven. And I went by and saw a man. He didn't even come to my church. He wasn't a member of my church, but I wanted to see him because he was a good man. He actually was my furniture salesman. If I bought furniture, I bought it off of Larry Gravitz. And Larry was about to pass away. And I walked into his house, and I hadn't seen him in actually a couple of months at that point in time. And I couldn't believe my eyes. He had lost so much weight. Hospice had come in. They had a bed in the living room so the family could visit with him. And he was getting ready to die. But the reason I loved Larry, even though he didn't come to my church, I would always go into his furniture store, and I'd walk out the door, and he'd stop me before I could leave. And he'd say, "Preacher, don't forget, you're blessed and highly favored." I don't care if I bought anything or not. He'd tell me, "You're blessed and highly favored." Sometimes I'd buy some furniture, write him out a $500 check or even a $1,000 check. And he'd say, "You're blessed and highly favored." I thought, that's easy for you to say today, buddy. You got the check. But I went in to see him that afternoon, and he couldn't hardly even open his eyes or even speak. And I leaned down, whispered in his ear. I said, "Larry, I don't know if anybody's even told you, but I'm leaving Virginia. I'm moving to Oklahoma. But I just want to come by and tell you one more time, I love you. You blessed me. You've been an encourager to me. Be praying for you, thinking about you." And I turned and I started to walk out, and he reached up and grabbed me by my sleeve. And he tugged at my sleeve and pulled me back down. He said, "I just want to tell you one more time, you're blessed and highly favored." I held it together till I got in my car. But when I got in my car, I broke down because I said, God, there's a man in there eaten up with cancer, but he refuses to say cancer is who I am. I have a body, but I also have a spirit. And that spirit has a soul, a mind, a will, and emotions. It's contained in this sick body, but this sick body is not who I am. This cancer is not who I am. I am still a child of God, and I'm going to bless this preacher on my way out of this world. Oh, I need to tell somebody, don't let your circumstance mark you. Don't let your circumstance identify you. You're bigger than who you think you are. You're more blessed than what you think you are because you're still a child of God.